Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 558. You don't own your government name. We definitely wanted to do this episode. This was a long awaited episode. Many people have reached out for years asking us questions. Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out for a consultation. We have the upcoming webinar here for trustees. This is private trustee training. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We definitely have a great group of trustees that have come through, ladies and gentlemen. It has grown and will continue to grow. So definitely thankful for all the trustees that have reached out and are actually taking advantage of having one trustee and an additional family member come through and bringing some other people too. So definitely excited about that. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com or just go ahead and take care of sending over the 100 to the PayPal. Feel free. We're going to go forward from there. When you reach out, we'll have your email on file. They'll get the link before the webinar. We've actually already thought about it. Like, man, if somebody tries to come last minute, we're just definitely not doing last minute takers, but we'll definitely do at least up until an hour before the webinar starts. So about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll do a cutoff for ticket sales for the actual event. So definitely appreciate everybody that is going to be there. It's going to be something that, people say, oh, how are you going to do the same thing every time? We're not. And so we have a different partner this time. We're going to continue to bring the best of the best forth our network to the people that are in our network. And so this episode right here is to address something that we've had people come on the line recently asking about. Do they need to secure their government name? How can they secure their government name? And it's supposed to be the straw name. It's supposed to be the UCC name and all this other stuff. It's supposed to be the uppercase name and not the lowercase name. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So we're coming at you if you're asking these questions because people have gone through the UCC process or starting it and they want to make money and they're like, how is this process going to make me money? So there we go. That's the question that's plausible and it's okay to ask. How are you not going to ask the question? If I go through a process of spending some money, investing some time and some money into some information and education, how is it not going to give me a return? All right. So people have recently come through the vault and they're like, all right, well, I've been going down this process of authenticated my birth certificate. They told us this for years. Okay, how much money did you make off that? We ain't gonna sit here and play no games with nobody because when they come through the vault, they understand that's just paper. Your energy is worth more than the paper. So how is it? Oh, now, well, we trying to quantify that on a piece of paper and get a debt receipt for it. Did you hear that? It's a debt receipt. From who? From a debt system. From it's created out of chattel slavery. But oh no, you want to participate, but you want to be private. See, the public had the chattel slavery, and the private. How are you going to participate if you're free? How are we going to participate if we free? But this is one of those type of conversations. It can get real airy, it can get real esoteric, or we can keep it at the base level. Oh, I want to own my government name. So you want to own the public name. How you, the private man, want to own the public name? When a name's supposed to be for the public, that means it's for everybody. If we're in trust, if in God we're in trust, it's for everybody. The name in the public's for everybody, right? Isn't that how your family's able to inherit it? But what happens in the private sector when you don't name your family as the designees of your estate? That's how the private looks. See, in the public, it's by default. Your children get it by default. The state gets it by default. The public gets it by default. So people have come through the vault recently asking this question. Should I own my government name? How do I own my government name? Am I supposed to be the beneficiary of the government name? The name that the government they're supposedly doing these hypothecation on the name, on the social security number, so they can stay afloat. Because they're hypothecating the money. Fair enough. Fair enough. They also gave you the opportunity to hypothecate because can't you build credit on the name? The government name. So they got this thing called the government name, and people, they reach out and they say, "Oh, I want to get control of the government name." They don't always say control now. Y'all, just to put y'all on notice, we're putting you on notice. That's not the exact language that they use. They come through, they say many things, but they don't say control. They say they want to own it. They say they want to have it. They don't want the government to mess with them. These are the things that they say. "Oh, I want to own my name because I don't want the government to mess with me." This is the type of stuff that they say. So okay, so they say, "Okay, I want to own my name. I don't want the government to be able to mess with me." Okay. So they have the government name now that they've distinguished themselves from. And I'm not my government name. There's this name, it's the government name. Oh, really? Okay. So you got a government name. And where do you fall in line with it? See, we can have these conversations because we have them with the people. We say, "So are you the grantor?" If you're calling it a trust, they say, "You the grantor, you the trustee, you the beneficiary." Well, the government was supposed to be the trustee and I'm the beneficiary. And that's why you're filing taxes. That's why you're paying taxes. Taxes chase title. You're the beneficial owner. You're the beneficiary. You're receiving distributions. Right? Is that personally or professionally? Because in the government world, in the system, you can actually not have you don't have to operate out of a personal vehicle. You can operate out of a business vehicle. They actually have a distinguishment between business and personal. They have different percentages and all types of stuff. That's how it looks in the public. So this isn't legal advice, financial advice. This is just going over the basics that, once again, do you own the name? Do you really want to own the name as the beneficiary? "Oh, I want to be the beneficiary, Trust Christian in the vault." You don't want to be the owner though, do you? You don't want to be the grantor? Are you going to be the trustee? You going to be the officer? Are you going to be the officer of the company? Do you know the Prudent Investor Act? Are you an investor or are you an owner? There's a difference. Are you a founder or are you an owner? There's a difference. President or owner? There's a difference. You don't own your government name. This is one of those episodes that people have reached out for years. They say, "Oh, the government, I need to file a UCC because they got a debt out on the name behind my back. And they're over here growing the money without me." So there's this treasury account that these guys have been purporting over the internet for years. The government has this treasury account because when you look at the money, guess what? The money got the treasury and it has the Federal Reserve. Those are two different institutions. They got the treasury and they got the signature and they got the Federal Reserve and the signature. And you use the money. You use the paper Federal Reserve knows. What are you talking about? "I knew that they was doing something wild. I knew that the system wasn't telling me everything." How could they tell you everything? You're a seeker. They couldn't tell you everything at once, unfortunately. Could the America have been a little bit better about teaching financial literacy, as they call it nowadays? Sure. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do nothing, do you get something? No. If you do nothing, you get nothing. If you do something, you get something. The name has no power in and of itself. It just didn't, because it has to have some type of equity in it. See, when you say you want to come to the private, when you want to deal with Trust Christian in the vault, it's coming in equity. Equity means the sweat equity off your brow, not just pulling up because of your last name. "Oh, well, my last name's Johnson. Oh, my last name's Kennedy. Oh, my last name's Rockefeller. Oh, my last name's Rothschilds." Oh, so you think you could just pull up and you supposed to mean something? That means we're not all created equal. But when you live in a society where equality is supposed to be the equal measure of might, then when we sit at the table, we do point our swords in the same direction as towards the center. And we do sit in what's called the public now. Why do you think these families are private that we just named? They're private because They didn't want their names to be smited in the public. They were able to go private and stay private. You want the government not to own your name, you gotta go private. Oh man, the government private. That's what we're looking at. Are we looking at going private? That's what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Going private. And when you go private, the name minimizes in the public. You don't really know too many Rothschilds by first name, but you know them by last name. You know the Rockefellers by last name. You don't know them by first name. It's that type of thing. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, or replay. This is one of those episodes that a lot of people have reached out over the years, and we have to say that repeatedly because it's been years. And they say, "Oh man, trust Christian in the vote. I really need to know if I'm gonna go through with this process, and I'm trying to reclaim my birth certificate. I'm trying to reclaim my government name." What, you think they stole it? What happens if you stop using it? What happens if you take it and you flatline at the zero? How does the government benefit from it? How does the government benefit from the name not producing anything? Oh man, I got to think about that real quick. Right, because if you go create another name, which you can do because you're a creator. Did you hear that? This isn't public school. It's not one under everything. Many people have many talents, so that means they can do many things. So no, they're not stuck under one name. That's why most of us got more than one name, because you can create multiple things. That should be an example in and of itself. But instead, people want to sit here and say, oh, the government got some type of control. The government is their welfare operation. And we should be happy and almost willing to help them to do their job better. That's what the purpose of trustee training is. It's to help trustees help the government do their job better. When you go out and create social equity, isn't the government social equity? That's your social equity. Oh man, I'm not trying to give the government nothing for free. I'm not trying to let the government make more money off of me than me. Oh really? You're not trying to let the people make more money off of you than you. That's what it sounds like. And so what do you got to do? You got to let the government name go if that's the case. Oh, you don't want the government to make money off you? You got to let the government name go. But oh no, people got the entitlement. They got the covetous mentality. They don't have the Judas mentality of self-sacrifice. You got to let it go. That's all. Let the government name go. Crucify the government name. Let the government name go. They don't want to let the government name go because they think it's got some type of social equity outside of them. They think it's got riches outside of them when it's all coming from the inside. If you don't do anything with the government name, it doesn't have any inside value. It doesn't have any intrinsic value. But people want to associate a nominal value to it. Oh man, well, because I say it's worth this, it's worth that. It's like a company, right? So then go create a company. But instead they want to use the government name. They don't want to create a business because they haven't been trained or they haven't been educated to open up a business. So there are people like the Vault that will say, hey, you can create multiple things, multiple names. And so why put so much emphasis on the government name? To hold you down and hold you back. Oh man, the government name, man, I gotta focus on the government name. We can't lose. We got the government name. The government name. Somehow the government, they created a trust off of my name when I was born. At the hospital, they created a government name, and the government created a name without you, right? Because did you start using it from the beginning? People didn't start using the government name from the beginning. Oh, hold on, did you get free healthcare? Did you get subsidized anything? This is the environment we're living in. You're living in doubt and fear. All you gotta do is go out and create another name. There's no need to own the government name. That's like saying, oh man, the government, they gonna put a debt on my name, so I want to own the name. The government, they're going to put a debt out on my name, so I want to have control over it. Why? You can go out and create equity doing something else. You see how easy that is? You see how privacy works? Whereas in the public, they say, oh man, you got to hold on to the government name. You got to do everything through the government name. You got to transact everything through the government name. You got to build credit on your government name, right? Because the government owes you something. Yeah, that's for the people that can't produce right away. That's for the people that call themselves disadvantaged. That's for the people that call themselves minors and minorities. So they get appropriations from the government. They get handouts from the government. Because private people, they make it happen. They figure it out. They focus on free enterprise privately first. It's a wild thought to know, but that's just the way it is. Oh man, we got to create something out of thin air, Trust Christian in the Vault. It's not out of thin air. It's from the inside. It's not from the government. It's from you. Oh man, the government might owe me a little bit of money. The government owes you money. Hold on. We're going to repeat it in a way in which it makes a little bit more intrinsic sense. The public owes you money? The public owes you, or you owe you? Dude, hold on. Does the public own your name? Think about it. In copyright law, after a certain amount of years, the name isn't private anymore. It's public. It's for public consumption. It's for public distribution because that is the way the public can benefit from your legacy. But if you don't have the right mindset towards legacy building, you over here thinking, "Oh man, our families, we're going to be able to hold on to the name forever." Well, guess what? We were sitting around some people that they actually started using somebody else's private family name. And that private family reached out through the copyright office. And they said, you can use our family name. You just can't use it for these industries because we have copyright in these industries. You see how it works? They own their last name in certain industries. And they put a cease and desist out to anyone that tries to use it in those industries. But if you're not in those industries, they tell you it's free game. We don't give a rip. If anything, it almost will bring recognition to their name and more favor. Why? Because there was we know someone, they took a prominent family's last name and they were utilizing it. And in turn, the family reached out and hit them with a cease and desist and said, look, we just want to let you know that you can do what you're doing as long as you don't touch these industries. That's what's going on. So why do you need to own your government name? Because you want to collect the royalties right from the beginning. So that means you might want to go out and start a business. But then we got trustees. Here we go. We're going to bust this episode into a few ones. So here we go. Trustees, or people will reach out. Oh yeah, I started a trust with my name. I started my own trust with my name. I started a corporation with my name. So now it's not the government name no more because I got it in all caps and it's in the LLC or it's in a C corp or it's in a trust. Oh, so I got control of the government name. Don't I want to control the government name? Why do you want to control a name that you didn't write the laws for? Think about it. When you create sometimes when you think about like estate planning, people think about a will. Well, a will might convert over into a trust through testamentary and things of that nature. So we can have that conversation. This isn't financial advice or legal advice, but we can have that conversation. So you dictate that. You dictate your will. You dictate the edicts of how things go for estate planning and legacy building, not the government. The government is the public. The public's not dictating your family. Your family's dictating to the public what gets taught, what gets done, where the money goes. But see, people want to own their government name because they've been programmed to own their government name. Oh man, I gotta have my government name. I gotta use this name from birth. There's nothing wrong with that name from birth, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful thing from birth. Since it's a beautiful thing from birth, can we go out and create more names? Can we go out and create more businesses? That's what this opportunity down here for us is to do, to go out and create more names off of our names, not be stuck on one name and say, oh, well, that name, that name was the government commandeered it real quick for some hypothecation and some chattel slavery. If anything, we've never heard the argument where Americans come to the table and say their money is not backed by gold. So when they say that the money's not backed by gold, that is a fair assessment. It's a no-brainer. But at the same time, what are you doing to fortify your family and the name itself through what we're talking about? How are you fortifying your family through, if it's not backed by gold, through the paper? So that's where we get into private family banking. Oh man, everybody might not need a trust, but they definitely need a private family bank. That's why you got to be on the webinar, because you got to get into private family banking. You're already participating in private family banking, but you ain't really benefiting from private family banking. You're not in control of private family banking. Can you do private family banking with the public banks? Yes, you can. That is what's going on. It's been going on for hundreds of years. These are families that we end up building our private family banks, and we end up operating. You either stay in the private with your private family bank, or you go back in the public, continue to build banks in the public. This is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. But oh no, no, there are families that don't want to build private family banks. Why? Because they want to build businesses, and they don't think a bank is a business, but their families participating in banking in general. See, these are the conversations we can have when we talk about, oh man, I don't own my government name, but do you own your private family bank? Do you got a private family bank? Oh man, is that hard to start? That's easier than starting a trust. That's easier than you trying to own your government name. When you even think about private family banking, doesn't that sound like we're gonna make some money? How we gonna make money off of the government name when it's a welfare name? The name is an insurance name. That means if you dang near die and you can't bury yourself, that's what Social Security is supposed to be for. That's what the government name is supposed to be for. It's supposed to be if that's what Social Security could be assimilated to. If we kind of deduced it down to some things like, oh well, if you pass away and we see your ID on you, then there's this insurance government fund that we all kind of pay a small tax into throughout the course of our lives, and then if we die, we won't die. If we die with no family or friends or whoever, we'll have enough money to bury you. That in dignity, as they say. That's the government name for you. But we know why they talk about the government, because you went to government school. You went to government school. So you're thinking about government things. When you think about private family banking, you're thinking about your family, you're thinking about privacy, you're thinking about your family. Private family banking. But people want to own their government name because it's almost like, trust Christian in the vault, can I get something back? Maybe, kinda. Does the government owe me something? Maybe. And then you're still wondering that because you're not ready to contribute. You still feel like you gotta receive before you give, and that's not how the universe works. It's actually called the law of sowing and reaping. How you gonna sow? How you gonna reap before you sow? You gotta sow. That's the equity. Private family banking. Private family banking means you got to put money in the private family bank before the government does, before anyone else does. You got to put money in the private family bank. Put sweat equity into it. Something. You don't own the government name, though. People want to get equity out of the government name. They think the government did a multiplication factor on it, did some type of hypothecation factor on it, and now they want to benefit from the government's usury. That's fine. And a few of us understand that if we were able to give the government that much power through money, that if we don't create it, they have nothing, then we know that we're going to go out and continue to create. And you don't need to own anything. You trust Christian. You own nothing, control everything. That's what you do. You trust Christian. You own nothing, control everything. It wasn't. See, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna drop a few gems on this episode here. Thank you for listening live, listen to replay. Feel free to reach out, Christian@trustchristian.com. That's the email you can reach out for the webinar that we have coming up here. It's gonna be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We just appreciate everybody that's been sticking with us for as long as they have, and we're thankful that our speakers are taking the time out their schedule to serve. When you see IRS enrolled agent, this means this person can defend you in court. So if you got some issues already, this is the person that's going to be able to help you out through answering your questions, do a consultation, and making sure that you can be represented properly. Then we get over to the private wealth advisor, and the private wealth advisor, Victor, has been around for years and has operated internationally in private trusteeship. So when you talk about securities, has securities licenses, all type of stuff. Your series, your 6s, your 7s, they got licenses for your securities. So we're blessed. We even bought Dr. Bay. When we bought Dr. Bay done had almost every securities license that you can have. The 6s, the 7s. He's had life insurance license. He's had a licensed insurance operation in over 10 states. We do our best to bring credible people to the table. So do you need to own your government name to be private? No. People say, oh man, I want to go private. Don't I need to own my government name? Ladies and gentlemen, the question is are you going to participate in private family banking? That's it. Are you going to sit in private family banking? Christian at trustchristian.com. Christian at trustchristian.com. We were connecting with a mentor recently. He said, Trust Christian of all, you want to be a billionaire. You have the heart of a billionaire. You got to read billionaire books. And that sounded very airy fairy. It sounded really cool in the sky. You somebody tell you read a book, you might say, "Oh man, what am I going to read a book for?" And you understand that there's value in mindset, and that mindset being passed along. You don't need to listen to a lot of people, but if you're looking to do something, you got to talk to the people that have done it. They can give you at least some minefield thought process. Recently, we listened to one on Audible. It's called Homeless to Billionaire by Andreas Pira. And ladies and gentlemen, these are the books that you got to read to improve your mindset so you don't think about do you own your government name or not. What happens when you're richer than politicians? How are they going to help you out? These people are making less than you a year. How are they going to help you out? They're here to help out people that need help. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. It's a mindset, ladies and gentlemen. There's an abundance mindset, and then there's this mindset of, the government, they might owe us something. And then there's a mindset of creating. And you just create. And you keep creating, and you keep creating because you don't know how many apples are in a seed. So we definitely look forward to people reaching out tomorrow. Christian at trustchristian.com. We're going to do ticket sales all the way up until about an hour before the event. Give us a break to refresh and be ready to go. Are you there? All right, great. We're back. We just wanted to make sure that everyone could hear us. I know that was a quick mess up. Definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listen live, listen to replay. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subscriptions. People subbing to the channel. We definitely are going to do our best to bring quality trustee training this Sunday. We had a bunch of people enroll in between the last training and this training. And this is training now at least once a month, usually the first week of every month, or first Sunday of every month. Holy. So looking forward to connecting with you all. Definitely don't want to miss this one. This is high-powered individuals to be able to connect with people that really they can help you out, and that's what it's all about. So look forward to you all coming through on the webinar. We're going to do ticket sales once again up until 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's how that goes. People say they wanted a replay. We got a bunch of people that got the replays last time, and they'll be on. We done one-on-ones with them and as well the webinar. So giving them the webinar replay. So look forward to connecting with you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to see you on the webinar tomorrow. Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.